Good morning. Hello, Yat. This is Peter Deswood the third. I am Navajo from Lugachica area in Arizona. I am Tachini. Kilichini Bashichin Ashin Hedeshachedo Toy Heglinis are my knowledge. So I do live in Farmington. I'm a high school principal. I do quite a few things in my community. Serve on the NAPI board in Farmington, the big farm, south of Farmington. I also podcast, so I just wanted to send a message out there to people that are listening, that follow my podcast. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Podbean, I'm on every major Podbean site, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about give an update about the COVID-19, the coronavirus. I was reading an article this morning by a friend of mine, Alyssa Vicente. She works for the Navajo Times, so shout out to Alyssa Vicente. Also, check out the swag from Red Earth, Dirk White Breast from, I think it was Iowa, so in the Midwest, a native from up there. Also, supporting the native swag of Native Outdoors, one of my brothers from Saley area. So the article was talking about 26 new cases on the Navajo Nation. This was as of Saturday night. I do teach at Diné College too, and I was getting updates this past week from the IHS there in Saley. I can't remember the lady's name, but we were getting updates on the COVID-19 and what we were going to do. Just an update for those Diné College students out there, everything is moving online. So starting this week, all classes will be online. My wife also teaches at San Juan College here in Farmington. San Juan College classes are also moved online. So in Alyssa's article, it talks about 18 cases from Kayenta Service Unit. So I think that's where a lot of the cases are happening. They're spreading from there. And I'm not too sure if they know where it's coming from. Also 4 from the Chinle Service Unit. And also 3 from the Tuba City Service Unit. And then there's 1 from Crown Point, which is about 90 miles south of Farmington. So that brings the total to 26. And the Navajo Nation president did put an executive order in place where he did state that stay at home because of what is going on. Okay, this is something that's pretty serious, that stay in place order. I know I've been telling my mom to stay home, but you know she's a traditional Navajo and she wants to go and visit people. She wants to be out and checking on her kids. We've only seen my mom once this past week for the last 8 days. I went over to her house to put some pellets in her stove and to bring 7 bags of pellets into her house. So I know for the most part, my wife and I, we've been staying indoors and taking care and social distancing. I've been holding a lot of meetings with my staff online versus via Zoom, doing a lot of remote working. So it's definitely a different and a change in what goes on with our way of life. But keep in mind, I just want to do a shout out to Navajo Agricultural Product Industry. Last week they donated $1 million to the Navajo Nation to help with this COVID-19. I know there's some fallout about how that money was received, but that's none of my business. All we did was give it. And if there are other people listening that serve on Navajo Enterprise boards, I think this is one of the times when the Navajo Nation needs the money. I know all these Navajo Enterprises were started with money that was funded or donated or invested from the Navajo Nation. So within our plan of operation, we did declare a dividend to the Navajo Nation. At least within our plan of operation, all it did was it took for us to do a board resolution, and we worked with our accounting and finance department to put that donation in order to give back to the Navajo people for however they need to use it. Okay, so shout out to NAPI for that. But if there are other board members, and if you know of other board members, they can also do this. The Navajo Nation did approve, or the Navajo Nation Council did approve another $4 million a couple days ago. I've been watching the Twitter feeds and watching what goes on with the Navajo Nation. So I think that's one thing that's important too, is watch these sessions, a lot of people don't hear what's going on with their Navajo government. Okay, there's a lot of Navajos out there that live in Phoenix, Albuquerque, Denver, and of course here in Farmington, Flagstaff. But know what goes on back home. So back to our Alyssa's article. It talks about, she cites Rosalind So from Navajo Area IHS Director, and she said they have less than 30 days of supplies left. So if you could donate supplies, please reach out to them. I know I see on Facebook every day about numbers where you can reach out, where you can send them supplies and donations and stuff like that. I know times are tough because, people aren't giving whenever this is going on, but if you have some of those masks at home, I know there's a lot of construction workers that have those masks. Also, yesterday, our Alyssa Vicente, I saw on her Twitter feed that said there's a lot of organizations, businesses that have made a lot of money on the Navajo Nation, and that they should give money back to Navajo people. I completely agree with that. If you're making money on the Navajo Nation, I honestly, first of all, I think about Farmington, all these businesses here. I remember reading $130 million of revenue in Farmington. Farmington alone comes from Navajo people. Maybe they should be donating money back to help with this cause as well. Okay, so, but looking back at the article, our listener was saying, and she quoted that Ms. So from IHS, that we do not have as much testing as we should. Therefore, that could lead to additional positive cases. One just became because of limited testing that we do. Number two, just how long it takes to get back our testing. Okay, so that's pretty important. Those tests that are being done. I know there is a drive-up testing here in Farmington. I'm not too sure how it is done in Chinle. If we think about that, I'm also seeing pictures of police, Navajo Nation police in I guess they have a roadblock in and out of Chimbote. And my dad's family, his Guini side is from, I have relatives from Chimbote, all the way to Chimbote, Round Rock, Lukajagay, Tsaili. I have Shike, Aden, Dakai. They're all from that area. I know my dad talked about having relatives in Kayenta and all the way to Ojeto, Arizona. But I just sent a text message to one of my friends from Kayenta and telling him, hey, I hope everything is your family are all good up that way, and to take care, and prayers be with you guys. Prayers be with you in those areas. So looking a little bit more, wanted to give another shout out to the firefighters and that are out there, the Navajo Nation police, not just Navajo Nation police, but police in all areas, those first responders. I know there are a lot of people coming out and offering free services to first responders, and that's pretty important to think about and to take care of our first responders. So when you look at it, I first started looking at this COVID-19 coronavirus, I think about 2.5 weeks ago. I was sitting in an all-administrator meeting, and our superintendent came up and said, it wasn't if this happens, but it was when this happens. So within our schools, we started to put in a lot of, we had to put in a remote teaching plan, online teaching plan. And this has been 2 weeks ago. So immediately the next day, I got with my staff and I started asking them questions, to build capacity and try to put things in place so that we are there for our students. But not only that, but our people, the people that are within our community. So when I first started tracking the virus, and I started looking at the COVID-19 virus on the Johns Hopkins University website. They have a little map on there, and whenever I first started looking at it, this was March 4th, and this is let's see, I started looking at it about 7:35 in the evening. At that time, total confirmed in the world was 95,266. And when I woke up this morning, that number had exponentially jumped to 311,989. Okay, so this is something that's serious. It definitely has been spreading. And that's why people are saying social distancing, stay at home, social isolation, that's what we've been doing. Like I said, we're going on our 9th day here in Farmington. So, we're staying home. My wife wipes down the house, the doors, the handles. Luckily, we have a backyard, so we've been doing a lot of yard work in the back, taking care of our yard, getting our garden ready for planting. Now, whenever we take a look at the total number of deaths, the fatalities, it's also jumped exponentially. So whenever I look at that, I see whenever I first started looking at it on March 4th, there was 3,285 deaths worldwide. Okay, and then when I took a look at it this morning, and this was updated at 7:43 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, it was up to 13,407 deaths. So that's also worldwide. Now those numbers are, I hear people all the time talking about fear mongering. They're like, oh, you're listening to the liberal media, whatever media you're looking at. This virus has nothing to do with whether you vote liberal or Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. This thing, if you have a weak immune system, you got to be careful with who you're around. Okay, so I also looked at it a little bit more in depth. I like to research stuff, and I like to see what's going on in the community and the world. But I was looking at this, and I wasn't necessarily tracking this number for the United States in particular. Oh, actually, I do have the number. Let me just pull this up really quick. So when I was looking at this number in the United States on here at the time on March 4th, it said 157 deaths in the United States. Okay, and I know I don't really like to talk about that. It's I'm not supposed to talk about that in Navajo culture. But currently, this morning there was 349. Overnight, we had 47 new deaths. Okay, so whenever you look at that, we gotta take this seriously, people. We gotta make sure we follow all of the advice where they say wash your hands. They're now saying that the virus lives on surfaces. I'm not going to get into those details, but remember, it can be on this coffee cup or other things. Plastic surfaces, cardboard. I know this is a little bit. We're kind of taking this a little bit more serious. Like anytime we get mail, we leave it by the door for a couple of days. If it's something that we need to take a look at immediately, my wife wipes it down with Clorox. Not a Clorox wipe, but we have a Clorox in the sink, and we put a dish towel right there, and then we wipe it off. We've had some stuff that we've had to order from Amazon, and this is precautions. That's all they are, is precautions. I mean, people do need to take this serious because this is jumping. And I think one thing that's important that I keep hearing from people in the media is that, not just the media, but the epidemiologists, people that work for the CDC, is that there's really no cure for this. There's no vaccine for this coronavirus. That's the difference between the common flu or the common cold, is that where there's a flu vaccine you can take. They know how to handle the common flu, but this COVID-19, this is something that's completely new, and we don't know how to take care of. That's why people, that's why they're like, well, we got to contain this. I mean, last I heard, there were five states that have put lockdowns. They were saying in New York City last night that there were National Guard and military were in downtown New York City. Okay, so whenever we look at more local, I know, like I was saying, New York, there's 12,315 as of this morning confirmed cases, and there are 76 deaths. I live in New Mexico, which we've been tracking this, and it's at 57. So no deaths in New Mexico yet, but that's the thing. We got to really take this serious, and I don't know how many times to say that, but when we go to the west, Arizona, where all my relatives are, it's at 104. There is one death there. Then when we go north, I do have friends up in Denver, 475 total confirmed, and in Colorado there are 6 deaths. Okay, Utah, since there are a lot of my listeners actually are in the Four Corners area. So in Utah, it shows 136 confirmed, and you can go this. Just go on your computer and hit Johns Hopkins University, and it'll say coronavirus map. Okay, that's what I did, and this one was updated at 7:43 a.m. this morning. Do the research yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, is do the research yourself. I've been watching the news, listening to Fauci a lot, and whenever those press releases happen, I also listen to the press releases from Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez and Lizer. And by the way, a shout out to them, man. I really like the work that they've been doing. Their leadership has been absolutely amazing. I mean, honestly, I watch what they're doing, and I feel like they're doing a better job than our President of the United States. I mean, I hate to be critical, but I see that, and in my advanced studies in my doctoral work, I studied leadership, and that's all the leadership theories out there. So that's not the way it's supposed to be. Okay. But I mean, you think about that, and you take that back to the local level, and just a shout out to the President Nez and Lizer for how they're handling this pandemic here. Okay, but other than that, check the news, see what's going on in your area. I know there's a way to take care of this and think about this, and I know we're not. At least in our household, we're not afraid of what's going on, but we've taken precautions to protect our family. And like I said, 8 days, actually 9 days today, where we've been staying at home. I mean, I'll go out and I'll take a run, but I'm by myself. My wife runs in the morning. Yesterday, I went on a 17-mile bike ride, but I was by myself. I was just, there's some things that you can do, and I don't even know how it would be to live in a big city like New York City during this time. You definitely can't be out and about. You got to make sure you're social distancing and maintaining that 6 feet. I mean, I tell you, when I went to Target to get some toilet paper the other day, I made sure I was 7 feet, 8 feet away from people to get my toilet paper. And trust me, I understand that. Whenever I was growing up, we lived down in Wakachigai. And I know out there, there's not a convenience store, there's not a Safeway or a Smith's or a Sam's Club or a Target, within 5 miles. I know some people have to come to Farmington or Gallup to get their weekly supplies. But please keep in mind, please take this serious. I know a lot of people are out there talking about the virus and giving updates, but this virus has been spreading with exponentially. It's been increasing. I know yesterday we just found out here in Farmington they just confirmed the first case, and I don't know, maybe that's what it takes for people to take this serious. But people have locked down a little bit more. But I hope everyone's safe. Stay safe out there, people. I know I was raised with traditional Navajo teachings and the prayer that my dad taught me. We take that serious, and if you couple or combine your spirituality, some people just do meditation, but that's, I guess, a form of spirituality. Take that message, take that, I guess, your spirituality, and combine that with your be prepared and being cautious about things and just taking precautions. I think that that will help us out. It will help us out. So I hope everyone's out there and safe, and prayers to everyone anyone that listens to this. And remember, stay inside. Try to stay inside. I know you have to go out and get some stuff, but I kept hearing Fauci say it's going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, you can look at the numbers from other countries like Italy and Spain and France. These are countries that are blowing up, right? I mean, Italy surpassed what China with a number of deaths. Okay, and when we pull up my little COVID-19. I mean, whenever you look at deaths, Italy's at 4,825 deaths, and China's only at 3,144 deaths. Okay, Spain's at 1,700 deaths. Iran's at almost 1,700. But I mean, those are things that we need to consider whenever this is going on. Is the way other similar countries, actually were larger than those other countries. But keep that in mind, okay, people. I hope everyone's doing good. I have put other videos out. There was a prayer that a colleague of mine recorded. It's a horse song. Those are some songs that I listen to. Whenever I need myself picked up inside. Also, we are yesterday we just smoked mountain tobacco. It's not we smoked some mountain tobacco yesterday in our family and here in our house, and said the prayer that my dad taught me when I was growing up. And that's how we get through. As Indian people, we're resilient. I mean, I look back at the history of the Navajo people. They survived the long walk or huelde, and numbers. Yeah, we were decimated, but we survived, and now we're a thriving nation. I also put a video out there on YouTube and on my podcast about a Navajo elder talking about these viruses and how this is one of the ways that populations are controlled. Which that I guess that's a way to look at it. But if you think about it, take a listen to those videos that I put on YouTube and that I put on my podcast. So if you all have any questions, please comment below. I'm just kind of, I do have people that follow me and listen to me, but please stay home. Please take care of yourself. But I know my dad always used to say that to me. Take care of yourself. And take care of yourself and be healthy and maintain yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically. Okay, so thank you. Go net.